Jake, thanks for my lion.
Oh, you're welcome.
I love it. I'm gonna stay on my desk.
Give me any instructions on how to make it work.
Oh no, I figured it out.
Buddy? TV day? Oh, we already stopped the music. Gee. Welcome. How is everyone today?
Weird.
Good.
The full roll. You know, Scott Roy will be doing on. Right, you're ready for that? Yeah. We're gonna see him turn in. Okay.
Not working.
Click back on the
I
screen.
stole somebody's bag. It looked like it was made for me.
Pretty good.
Oh, perfect. Okay. How are you doing today?
So.
Okay. Thanks to everybody that went to Red Day. I honestly don't know if I've ever been so sad to miss something as I was to miss Red Day. I was in Washington, DC. Does anybody that was at Red Day want to talk about it? I wasn't there.
I mean, I hardly ever get the chance to pull weeds, so it was perfect for me. Yeah. 400 square foot garden is.
Because when you're working, you can hear the lion roar, but then I realized it was
Me. And then when we went inside, they wouldn't, I were talking, they were asleep. It was so sad.
they just roared.
I'm a big fan of the zoo, so thanks everybody that went to Red Day and helped participate in that. And then we're gonna have so many monarch butterflies just flocking to our area anymore. Because we planted what they need to lay their eggs in. It's gonna be amazing. I'll put back on the screen, press it, still doing the same.
Has anybody seen flocks of
I have
those butterflies in the last few years?
monarchs.
Monarchs, yeah.
I've never seen a flock of them.
Or,
I don't know what they're called. Are they called a swarm?
I don't know.
The murder? That's
It's been a long
gross.
time when I was younger. I was hunting with my dad and we saw these 3 or 4 trees covered with literally thousands of monarchs. It was over in Twilla. I was shooting at them with my BB gun.
Good karma back.
Yeah, I was.
You guys, we had our gold graduation yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
This was incredible. Anybody want to share? Number one, Steven was, I've been to a lot of bowls. I've met a lot of bowl coaches. Homeboy was the real deal. Like, he was incredible. Does anybody want to share part of their experience from bowl?
Look at his face. He's like,
I'll second what you said. I was never gonna do bold again after my first experience, and Chris actually, it's like, I get it, but I've been listening to this coach because he's been talking with us every week for the last 8 weeks or whatever it was. You know, he sounds like he might actually, you know, like he actually cares. He's there to do it, and he's like another level. So I have to thank Chris for shoving me into doing it. Because it was good. Yeah, a loving show. Right. See, it was great. I have more. I'm trying to think of a time I've taken more notes than that experience. So yeah,
Very cool.
Mhm.
One of the cool things that we're gonna do is we're gonna put together, just to give you guys an idea of this group of people, just by staying focused and focused effort over 7 weeks. How many contacts did they make? How many contracts did they get? And how many under contract did we get from this group? Because it's amazing where you're focused. If you can just narrow your focus, how big of an impact that has in your business, right? And I believe there's a lot of noise all the time, kind of all around our heads, buzzing and spinning around. If we can just really focus in on the most important activities, if we could live every day like we were in bold or like we were getting ready to go on vacation the next day, think of all the things that you could accomplish. man, we would be able to hit our goals in half the time, I'm convinced, if we just maintained that type of just laser focus. So anything even that you wanted to add from this?
I thought it was a lot of fun how he, and I don't know if this is just his personality, because he is a crackhead and I love him, but he loves like gamifying everything, like making it fun again and getting your swagger back. Like every time that we would go back in, he would play the song, I'm Getting Sexy Back by Justin Timberlake. Like he just brought back so much energy in the business, and that's one thing that really resonated with me. Is just like sometimes I think you get stuck in the mundane, the competitive stuff that actually does matter, but how can you make it fun and gamify it and have a lot of fun with people around you while you're doing it?
I love that. And a huge thanks to Eden again, for bringing Bold here. She and I started talking about it last year as we were going through our GPS and trying to discover how can we really help our agents just have banner years, in years that there's so much noise and so many people complaining about things happening in the industry. We just really wanted to focus in on what can we do to just help our agents have some of their very best years in the next few years, where there's going to be a lot of people that are going to find all the reasons to not be in business. We wanted to help you find the reasons to just really exceed and blow up your business. And huge thanks to Eden. That was not an easy task, bringing Bold in, and she crushed it. So we were number
We
2
all did it
Bold launch
in the nation.
in the nation, you guys. That was a big freaking deal. Let's have some quick bucket fills. Anybody want to fill anybody's bucket? I just filled Eden's. That's what a bucket fill is. If you're new here and you don't know what a bucket fill is, it's you telling somebody else that you appreciate something that they did. So bucket fills, let's hear them. Don't everybody rush at once. You guys, you only have time for 2 or 3 max. So get in line.
Kenzie did an awesome job while I was gone last week, and she came and helped even do my house, so that was cool.
Oh, yay. Good job. Okay, who else?
Sure. Allison helped me out the other day, called me on the phone. I was very grateful. Helped me out with my first listing.
You guys.
Yeah.
Celebrating. Been here like a week. I love it. Okay, I guess I'll allow one more bucket fill. I'll allow it. This is also me saying we're gonna just wait until someone can get somebody's bucket. All day. Alicia.
Even though, we're not still in coaching, Allison will be a great resource. So we appreciate
I love
it.
the cake today. Bucket getting all filled up. I love it.
I thank Allison for letting me steal her, room back there. Online meetings.
I always wanna fill the buckets, but and I tell Eden all the time I get nervous to do it, just cause I've been crazy and you guys all picked up the slack for me. Okay, for everyone.
Jenny.
I just have to, I guess mine is like everyone. I love this office and I love our brokers that are leadership. I love the feeling that it's like, it's healthy competition. Nobody's here to pull the rug out from anyone else. Everyone's generally really positive, and the encouragement that we all bring each other here, whether you've been around for a long time or brand new. I think we have something special here.
Maybe too.
That's even in the KW sphere, because one of my buddies that I made down in the Salt Lake, that was part of the Bold. He came up to me yesterday and he's like, man, you guys just seem to have a real vibe going in your brokerage that's way better than ours. I was like, well, I tried to tell them.
Yeah.
So, leadership agents, everybody, maybe it's a good
Yeah.
place.
Hold on, I've got Alicia, Kat, then JC.
Oh,
I love this.
Along those same lines, I've got a listing that's coming active out of town. And I've been trying to call other agents and find out information, doing the market research. Nobody will call me back. Our office is so collaborative. I love it. It's not the normal real estate
Landscape.
It's not, yeah.
Cat, so I'm working on my first listing and my clients just upped our timeline by 2 months on me, like out of the blue. And so.
good news.
Good news, but like, I just, again, for Allison, like, sometimes, like, yesterday I called her like every 5 minutes for like an hour. I'm like, just kidding, I have one more thing, you know? So, and she's like, gotta walk up here to this meeting, but I'll still help you. So she's like helping me while she's having to do other things, so, yeah. MVP.
Right.
Well, and Jim Olson and Darnell Snyder both got their first under contracts this morning. I've literally been on the phone like 20 hours.
Are we the only one with an house?
I was gonna say something about Allison, but
Her head's getting too big.
Yeah.
She's not gonna
Say which one.
Stopping the door.
Casey's been the most.
I secretly do, but I'm trying to play. Christy, of course, the last meeting, she offered the consumer guide and she sent that to me right away. And asked for feedback and expressed how she loves to collaborate, whatever, so.
Love that.
That was a huge
Queen
value
Christy.
add. I
Queen
heard
Christy.
about that. That was a huge.
She's awesome.
Donna, you are also spot on and like, this is so amazing. Most of you know, well, I know this is my 28th year in the business and as an affiliate, I get the opportunity to go into so many offices and be exposed to so many different cultures. And I have to tell you what you have here, like Penny said, is super special. You guys, I mean, you are all amazing because I sit back and I just watch and observe and to watch the collaboration and how you all support each other, not just professionally, but personally, and how you all truly have genuine hearts for each other and want to encourage each other to succeed and be successful in every area of your life is super amazing for a whole lot for this many people to come together to do what you're doing. So kudos to the leadership because the culture starts from the top down, like really. And so just, I look at all of you and I'm just.
We know.
I'm such a favorite.
I got some good keeps for sure. We care about each other to show, and that makes the hard day much easier.
I mean,
we're coming in
even wear shirts that say I love our agents. So, just saying.
Neither did
We love you.
Okay, we have Jessica last week. You know what? We're gonna postpone it again.
Oh, I think we should just do it.
All right, we're just gonna do it.
Yeah.
Jessica, you wanna come up and do this? We're gonna celebrate someone who's not here today, because we don't wanna just keep pushing it back, but as you guys know, last week we did a culture award. Every month we have a culture of the month, a culture icon of the month, and then a production award of the month, the Gary Keller Production Award. And this month is.
Yeah.
He knows about it, so I'm sorry I have to hold it upside down because it's printed. Well, but that's okay. That's good though, right? You guys
Yeah,
learned about
it's
one.
been brain fresh, actually. We did it in.
Yeah,
Any brain exercise, can you read it
So
now? We have to like flip it in our minds.
And I do have to say too, Oscar is one of the most incredible people. He's one of the first ones that welcomed me here. So a special place in my heart, right? After taking a brief hiatus from his real estate business and shifting, and a shifting real estate market, Oscar closed out 2023 with 1 closed buyer and 3 listings taken. Oscar made the decision to come into 2024 with a massive focus and commitment to growing his business. So far, at the end of Q1 of 2024, Oscar has increased his production to an impressive 5 closed buyers and 5 closed listings, totaling 3 million in closed volumes in Q1 alone. That's a big deal. Like that's to go from almost 0 to that.
That's why he's so busy working.
That's like.
His appointment is felt like with client.
I was gonna say, I'm sorry.
I'm meeting.
I can wait till you're done.
And after a little R&R for Oscar, he is back with a vengeance, feeling refreshed and ready to break some personal records. We can't wait to see what Oscar accomplished this year, and we are so proud to be in business with him. And we should note too that he's like lost the whole person in ways.
Yeah, he's focused on his health.
He really is, and that's a big deal.
Huge.
I was on the phone with Oscar, I think it was last week for like an hour, and we were just talking about, you know, real estate, the pressure and all of that, and he said he just had a mind switch last fall, and he's like, no, I deserve this.
Yeah.
Guys, it's all in your mind. I
Yeah.
got to the house with him and like picked his brain for 4 hours and he told me all about his hiatus and coming
Right.
out. It was amazing.
Yeah, so.
I will be seeing him tonight if you want me to get him. Okay. What happens between your ears, you win or lose. Yeah, way quicker than you actually physically ever do. So love it. Okay, we have a quick word from Scott Leroy Marketing. We're gonna get his screen up here.
If he'll start talking.
Hey,
Scott, I
okay,
think if you-
am I
there you
popping up
go.
now?
Okay, let's see. We can't hear you. Are you on mute or do we? Oh my gosh.
Am I on
yeah,
mute? Oh,
yeah.
hopefully not. You can see on here. Hey, is that coming through a little bit more?
Yeah, that's much better. Thank you.
Awesome. All right. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate it. So, much like I said, my name is Scott Leroy. I run the lamest name company of all time, Scott Leroy Marketing, and we're really here to kind of help you with all of your catered technology. So, it looks like screen sharing is disabled, so I'll keep it brief on here, so no worries at all. A couple big things I definitely want to highlight for you all. First and foremost, scottleroymarketing.com is where everything is accessible for you. All the fun stuff is available on there. And you'll just want to use your market center number to sign into everything on there. All right. So for instance, 106 to access everything possible right away. So our biggest thing that we can help you out with is pretty much anything and everything on the KW technology backend. So really think of us as an extra tech staff member to make your life that much simpler. So if you go to scottleroymarketing.com/support, that is my favorite thing to highlight in team meetings because this is a plethora of free support items that are available for y'all to use that are all completely complimentary. All right, so whether it's around your command platform, whether it's around your website, around just getting your marketing going through the back end of command, we can help out with that. All right, so scottleroymarketing.com/support is my favorite place to highlight. And then it'll have all of our contact information on that page and at the bottom of every page as well too to reach out to us. And then of course, every Monday through Friday, we have live training classes right at 11 a.m. Mountain Time. All right, so that way we just are finishing up one of them for today, but tomorrow we'll be back on again at 11 a.m. Mountain Time to go over a new subjects on here to help out with everything possible through the KW tech. So whether it's going over DocuSign, whether it's going over your database, over smart plans, websites, whatever it may or may not be, we can help out on there. All right, and these are all recorded as well too that you can access on our site under the agent resources section. And then of course, feel free to go on there and go to scottleroymarketing.com and then /existing if you want to see, are you fully up and running as you should be as an agent today on May 21st? All right, so we can actually do a full audit of your entire account. All right, but the best part is all of our items are completely free for you all to utilize, all complimentary just from the graciousness of the office. So everything under scottleroymarketing.com under the agent resources section will be available for y'all to use right away. All right, and I just saw a question come on here for the Market Center number. You can use 106, and that'll give you access as that password to access us right away. So please feel free to contact us. Feel free to reach out to us and think of us as an extra tech staff member to make your life that much simpler. So please let us know if we can help you out with anything at all.
Thank you so much, Scott.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
I'll just go online real quick for you guys. I asked Scott to be here because this is an additional service that we as an office provide for you guys. I just want to make sure that you guys know what is available for you. So with Scott Leroy, I want you to look at this as like an extension of like a VA for anything command related and some tech stuff as well. So I don't want you guys to have to waste any time or any like, I want you to have to learn how to import a spreadsheet to your command database if we can just have somebody do that for you. Or to update your biography or update your headshot. Like if there's little one-off things where in your head you're like, I want somebody to do this for me. That's essentially what Scott Leroy does. And they're incredible. I know their standard with responses is within 24 hours, but I mean, for me personally, they're averaging like a response and a solution within less than an hour. They're incredible. but just to give you an idea of everything that they can do for you. This is the support page that he was talking about. So our market center number is 106. But if you hit remember me, then you won't have to type that in again. So these are all of like the top ones that people ask help for. So importing spreadsheets, creating a biography, updating your database, starting smart plans, MailChimp setup, DocuSign support. Let's see, social media updates, updating your headshots, any like marketing, logo updates, updating team information. Because in your profiles in Command, you might have noticed there's lots of different places you have to go to update things. So they'll just do it for you. Anything relating to your KW email, they'll do everything for you on like your website stuff too. So if you go to your KW website and you say you're thinking, I would love to have a what's my home worth page on my website, send them an email and they'll add it for you. Or if you want to create a single property landing page on your website, send them an email on what property and they'll do it for you. So they can do preferred vendor forms, they can do testimonial pages, mortgage calculators, like Canva setup, like so much support here. So if you guys have anything like that, just send them an email, support@scottleroymarketing.com, and they'll take care of everything. Just send them your Command logins and then what you need, and then they'll do it. Okay, great. Love it.
Awesome. Anything else on that one? Right. Eden, do you want to say something about this?
Yeah, so this is just a reminder, we talked about Quick is the new AI that's in Command now. And it's been released and it's learning, and so it's gonna slowly progress over time, but this is just a reminder that in your Command screen, you can see this is a screenshot of it. In the bottom right hand corner, there's gonna be like a little star. And you just hit that star and you have a question on anything, how to prep for an open house, how to set up a paid ad on Command, give me a script to send out to my database, like anything like that, just send it or write a prompt in the AI in Command, and then it will pull everything for you and give you everything that you need there. So basically like ChatGPT, but in Command.
Awesome. Chris Bradford. Numbers and Friends with Chris Bradford. Feels like we should have a little jingle to play when you.
How's everyone doing?
Great.
Huh?
So good.
Great, that was again, you great. Where's the thing? Yeah.
I got it.
Okay, so did anybody have a chance to see the email I sent out last week about numbers? Rusty did. Jessica did. Does anybody remember anything from the email that they'd like to share?
That it was really good.
It's really good.
Green numbers.
You like the green numbers. Good. We're going to look at green numbers. Awesome. Okay, real quick. Every month I send out, this is about the second or third Friday of the month that I send out an email, the title of which will be Know Your Numbers. It's going to have a description in there with some fun little things to look at that basically talk about our market center results from the prior month. Okay, so look for it. Let's take a look at a little bit of what happened in the month of April. I realize we're a good chunk of the way through May, but we're always running just a little bit behind on reporting. But a couple things that I want to call out here that I always think are sort of fun. First of all, see the sold percent of list right there. Okay, and you can see what the MLS says of 98.6%, and you can see what ours says of 99.3%. So here's a question for you. In real terms, what do you think that means to your clients?
That they're gonna get more when they use it.
More money, right? Right? So you can make lots of different arguments about what that means. You could say, well, you know, the MLS just they're just sort of overshooting. They're not as good at like honing in on the exact price, and we are, et cetera, et cetera. But if you look at it with numbers, if you apply the math, the difference between 99.3 and 98.6, that 0.7% is almost $3,500 in your client's pockets. Those are real dollars.
Can we
Okay.
so that because I know we've got some people that are a little bit newer to real estate, so the percent
Yeah.
sold of list means that's where we listed the property versus where the property sold. Just to give some clarity, because I think that there's probably some people that maybe that hasn't sunk in, but that means if we list the property at 500, we're selling it at 99.3% of 500 versus average across the MLS at 98.6. So just so that you guys know, because I know there's some people in the room that maybe that's newer concept, that's what that means, our list to actual sold percent, Alicia.
And that's where it ends up, right? Because that's after, if there's a price drop, that's after the price drop.
Correct.
Okay.
That's
Yeah,
the
so
actual
it's
sold
the
amount.
Original price.
Original.
So
Yep.
if you originally enter the property for 500,000 and then you do a price drop to 475, and then you go under contract at 465, then they would go from the original added price at 500 to where we ended and actually sold.
Oh, so it's
Yeah,
original.
Jessica,
It does not include concessions. Is that
Correct.
true?
Correct.
Does not include concession.
that is correct. Yep. Couple things you're gonna notice on here that might look a little strange. Our days on market look like really high compared to the MLS. Keep in mind that we have some areas in our, what we call sort of our area that we sell in as KW Success. Where the days on market are in fact a little bit longer. Most of the MLS reporting is actually coming centralized out of more populated regions. And so every once in a while, I'll see a month where we've got some distortion like that. It's usually just a number of deals that are just sort of hanging around. And they just distort those averages. Okay, if you take a look at sort of our comparable counties and little smaller subsections, we're just right in line with the MLS on days on market. Okay. Let's take a look. Actually, no, I'm not gonna look at those yet. I'm gonna jump to the next one. Okay. So this one I want to talk about. There's sort of some highs and lows. There's some good news here, and then there's some, okay, well, let's interpret it news, right? First of all, let's look at closed units. We did 3 more units this year than we did last year, so that's only a 3.7% increase. Okay, look down here at the MLS. They did over 1,000 more units than they did a year ago in April. Okay, so there's 2 ways to look at that. Either we didn't do very well, or it's another way to spin that is to say there's business to be had out there in the MLS, right? Okay, so the way I would look at this number is, oh my gosh, did I get my share? In fact, did I get my unfair share of those 1,000 units, right, Jessica? Right? So those 1,000 units represent business that exists, that's real, that's money in people's pockets that you're eligible to go and claim. Okay? So while we may have had a little bit of a smaller increase versus what they did, let's not necessarily, you know, look down or feel bad about that. Let's just go out and claim it for next month. Okay? Now, one thing I do want to say, because I've had a sneak peek at May numbers, is our May numbers are looking really good. Okay, so there's
He's very excited.
my teddy bear may be made of numbers, yes. So let's take a look at another one, and this is the one that I'm really excited about. If you look at listings taken, you can see that we had a 26% increase over April a year ago. If you look at listings taken for the MLS, 27%, I'm going to call that just right there, right? So every time that our market center starts tracking that way with listings taken, guess what happens? Yeah, the business just, I mean, it's just incredible how listings are a lead metric in understanding and projecting forward results. Okay. Contracts written, we were actually down 14%. They were up 22.8%. The listings, I'd rather take the listings number, knowing that we're leading with real properties that we're working with, that we're actually under contract, right on. So I love that number. Keep chasing that number. When we talk about this for May, you guys are going to be excited. I got actually quite giddy this morning with the listings number taken. Did you see it?
Rusty, did you see it?
He's still,
There was from the end of last week to today, just a huge bump all of a sudden in listings taken. Well, look at all these wonderful bold graduates we've got, right? Anybody been working on listings in bold? Yeah, I'm guessing that was the lead thing, right? Yeah. So you're gonna see how this carries through. So it's very exciting. When our market center focuses on listings, we win, guys. That's just the way the math works. We
And by
win.
the way, how do you personally win when our office takes more listings? That's market share. That's you telling your story. That's also us controlling the inventory. You don't have to raise your hands because I know every single one of you, there's a little bit of hesitation or worry or fear around buyer's agency and what this is gonna look like as we figure out kind of the next steps. It's a little uncertain. Guess how we get to control what that looks like? By being listing focused. You've got to just
Hey,
stay
Rusty,
listing
out of
focused.
curiosity, has there ever been another transaction generated by virtue of having a listing?
No.
That doesn't happen, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You should get leads and listings. Make sure.
Yeah. Did I just invent that?
You know what, Chris? I wish you would almost bring.
I might have just invented that.
Did you just invent it? Listen to last. Leave it listening.
No, it's crazy. It's crazy how that just starts to snowball. When you've got your listings out there, individuals, I'm sure many of you could stand up and talk to me about, oh, how this listing generated that, and then this, and then I had Lincoln Taylor in here the other day talking about a listing, and he was on his like 5th or 6th transaction from that single listing that he had received. It just like kept going for him. So, okay, I'm gonna bounce back one page. Because Jessica called out the green, and the green's cool. This basically tells us how we're competing with our region. And you can see that we continue to just outperform our region on so many levels. Yep, so closed units, closed volume, our listings taken, our listings sold. Contracts written, let's keep that in the back of our mind because we're gonna keep chasing that. But we continue to just be strong. Yep, we continue to be strong. I'm excited to report, like I say, May numbers because there's some cool stuff. So, any questions? No? Okay,
Awesome, thank you.
that was me and friends, I guess.
Yeah. Curiosity, who can tell me the number of active listings right now, residential active listings in Davis?
818.
Lower,
560.
in just Davis County,
just Davis County.
286.
Higher, you're so close, Wes. I'm gonna give it to you because you're the closest. You're gonna see my sporting. I'm such a good sport. Playing in the backyard with Riker. There are 547 active listings right now in Davis County. There's 639 in Weaver County, and across the entire MLS, there's 8,770 active listings. So that's a lot compared to when we look at, like, if you think back for those of us that were in business in 2020, 2021, there was time where that listing number would like dip into the 3s and we were like, whoa. But even still, 8,000, I mean, when we talk about supply and demand and a housing shortage, that's still a very real thing. So anyway, we already talked to Scott Leroy.
It's nice to have options.
Nice to have options, for sure. Subscribe to Market Snapshots. So these are, no, I don't even know.
They're provided from KWRI. Jen Lewis and Ruben Gonzalez do like a quick inventory snap every month. So if you subscribe to this, then you'll get notifications of those, and then you can basically take whatever content's on there and then duplicate it as your own video. You can use it for marketing, but if you want to get a good, like a quick 2-minute synopsis of what's going on, then they're providing these now on YouTube.
Okay, love it. Did everybody get that scan that wants to? These slides will go out too. Wes, I see you scanning. I'll give you a second. When you've got it. Okay, awesome. This is what's going on in our office. You guys, we have an office calendar that you can just subscribe to. So I don't know, when we all in this room are masters of our schedule, because I know I'm a master of my schedule. I know you guys are masters of your schedules. And if it's not on our calendar, it doesn't exist. Why would we not subscribe to the office calendar? Give it a little scan right right here. Is it not working?
Well, so it hasn't been working, but I know. But
We're gonna let Steph try it. While she's doing that, I'll tell you a couple things coming up. The 21st, which that's today, at 2 o'clock, is Command Your Website Apps and Designs. That is today, right?
Yep.
Yes. Tomorrow from 12 to 1:30 is Land Voice. Get more listings now. So this has been a hot topic. A lot of people are saying, who do we call? How do we get more listings? Come and hear Land Voice talk about it. On the 27th, we're going to be closed from 23rd from 1 to 2 is KW Tech Orientation. So if you're new to KW, come to the Tech Orientation on the 23rd, which is Thursday.
And even if you're not new to KW, if you just need to learn Command
New
a
to
little
tech.
bit better or see what it even offers, because it's come a long way in the last
A
year.
lot about what it has to.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. On the 27th, the office is going to be closed in honor of my birthday and also Memorial Day. We'll have that closed that day. And then on the 29th, we have KW Consumer Experience with Kimber Walton. This is via Zoom. I believe we have a slide for this, and it's also in person. You guys, here's what I want to tell you about this. Oh, and then save the date really quick. Matt Green, by popular demand, so many people have been asking for him to bring back his 7th level open house class. He's revamping it. It was a 3-hour course. He's squishing it all into 2 hours. It is going to be well worth your time to be here on June 4th from 11:30 to 1:30. That's the overcoming low inventory. Get more listings now. Here's Kimber's thing. So here's what I want to tell you is the power of 2024 consumer experience. Turn it into a value proposition for your clients. Enhance lead capture, machine for your growth. It is the 29th from 12:30 to 2. If you are an in-person learner and you're like, I want to be in the room, make sure you RSVP. You can go. It's in the Brickyard, 1245 East Brickyard. If you want to watch this via Zoom, log into this. And here's what I'm going to tell you is even if you like, I'm using a different app or I use my own website or I have whatever, this is going to help you pick up nuggets that you can do to create a better consumer experience for your client. Okay, so make sure, and here's the other thing I'm going to tell you. You guys, in a world that we should be evaluating every single expense, we talked last week about with Marcus and inflation and all the things, when we should be evaluating every single expense we have, why are we not utilizing tools that are really freaking good, that are already included as part of your monthly associate fee? So anyway, come to this experience with Kimber. If you guys know Kimber, or if you don't, if you haven't been to class with her before, she doesn't speak a million miles an hour. She makes sure you're understanding where she's going, and she always brings really relevant content. She's on national stages, so she's a big deal. So make sure you go to this. We're going to talk today about rediscovering your why. So we have had a lot of discussions in the office and in a lot of my conversations with agents in this office and outside of this office about just feeling a little bit lost on what we're doing and what their why is. We thought it would be interesting today to talk a little bit about how to rediscover your big why and what is that going to do for you and your business. And I have a couple things that I want to chat through, and I also want to talk a little bit about, from my personal opinion, and this is just the opinion of Rusty, take it or leave it. You don't have to take it, but I think it's important to think about what your why is and what it isn't, and also I want to dispel a few myths around the why. So I'm going to encourage you guys today to actually kind of work through this and really think through a few things. So before we just start jumping into rediscovering our why, because rediscovering would assume that we've already discovered it at some point and we've lost track of our why. Steph, why do we have a pumpkin basket on your table? It's so distracting to me right now. I can't even focus on anything other than it's May and we're October. Sorry, I have to hold it now. It's gonna just be distracting. I know it's okay.
Stuff for a trunk or treat, and then I bought extra stuff and it's in my garage, so I bring it to her to
This
add.
makes so much more sense. Okay, thank you.
So much more. I cleaned out my garage this week.
Okay, so when you're thinking about your why, does anyone in the room, has everybody in the room already gone through and kind of done some exercises that at some point you had a why or you have a current why? Has everybody in the room at least done this at some level? So I want to kind of walk through just really quick, and then we're going to jump more into rediscovering, but I want to talk about how do we actually discover it. So I printed out a couple resources that I think are helpful, and I'm going to encourage you to take a little bit of time Whether it's today, whether it's at the end of the month, when you're closing out your month, whether it's when you're closing out your quarter, I think it's important to revisit your big why. And I think a lot of times when we get lost along the way, it's because we forgot where we were even going, right? So when we're talking about discovering your why, what moments in your day-to-day life or work do you find the most meaningful? Just as we're running through these, I just want you to think through them. I'm going to pass around some of these. This is directly from MREA about their big why. And then this one is a total, I'm probably breaking copyright infringements right now, but I don't really care. But this is from the book Worthy, which is Jamie Kern-Lema. And this one is one that I think you're going to want to take a little time to explore probably on your own sometime. Oh. But these are just a couple little handouts that I want you to just work through if you have a little bit of time. So what moments in your day-to-day life or work do you find most meaningful? And then thinking of those moments, what I want you to do, and this is an exercise, and I don't want you to necessarily do this exact exercise right now, but I do want you to just take some notes because there will be things.
Hold on one sec. Did everyone get a copy of both of these? Or more of both?
Maybe one more.
Oh.
One more of these.
I'm gonna get pens. Does anybody need pens?
Yeah.
Just me.
Apparently in handful, nobody brings pens anymore. That's why I use my iPad. But as you're jotting down some of those things, I want to just straight from the MREA, right? Because MREA is like basically our Bible here, right? But I want to read on page 73, it talks about think powered by a big why. And it says that above all else, we've discovered that one thing all high achievers have in common is that they're working for a big why. The big why is about having a purpose, a mission, or a need that in turn gives you focus. High achievers always have a big why powering their actions. A great example of how a big why works in our lives is the day before vacation Europe, right? I'm not going to read this whole part, but everybody's been on a vacation.
Yeah.
Everybody in real estate knows if you want to get really busy, plan a vacation, because the day before you leave, you're going to have 17 people pop out of the woodwork that need something right now. And think about how productive you are in the day before vacation. Why is that?
And do go on vacation every day.
Because all we're doing is focusing on what we must get done to be able to get out of town. So we stay laser focused on our most important things, which would be considered our big why. Okay. Says a big why brings focus and energy. A little why only brings a little focus and energy. High achievers always have a big why. So when there's little things that we're focused on, how easy is it to get distracted and go down every little bunny trail because we don't want to focus on those little things? There's probably not a why big enough powering it behind it. This says, imagine if you could live every day with that purpose. How far could you really go? Is your motivation to work every day at that kind of motivation that could take you to the highest level possible? His suggestion on this is on page 73 is I'd like you to really think about what motivates you. Write down your thoughts. So go ahead and stick in a bookmark, and then come back when you're done. But this is one thing that I thought was interesting. It says that most people are driven by numbers, but it's not really about the money, right? We talk a lot about when we're creating our goals. We create our goals attached to numbers. And why? Why do we do that? It's measurable, right? Our numbers tell the story, but we know the story between the numbers, right? We know why we're waking up and we're going to call that client back, or we're going to put up with the client that is driving you crazy because they want to price their house $100,000 more than it's worth, and you're trying to figure that out, right? That's the story between those numbers. I thought it was interesting to say when you're trying to discover your big why, make sure that it's not just money. We hope that money, what motivates you isn't just the money or a comfortable retirement. The truth is you can achieve these things faster than you think. But if you're not careful, you'll be left with a lot of life left to live and little reason to live it. We hope you're getting in touch with what truly motivates you. Maybe it's that you just love to do the deal. Here's the thing I want to say about a big why. It doesn't have to be that you're going to build 1,000 orphanages in Africa to feed the starving children. That might be a ripple effect of what you do, but it doesn't have to be like It doesn't have to be Mother Teresa level. And I feel like sometimes we get caught up in that, right? So I just thought that was interesting of saying, you know, sometimes it's somebody who, it's just that they love to do the deal. There's people who they love nothing more than a difficult negotiation. It gives them a chance to shine and acknowledge objections, discover a solution, both sides are happy. That's a big why that doesn't fade. There's real estate agents who like nothing better than providing exceptional service to their clients and handing them a key to their new home. This big why has led them to essentially become invaluable financial advisors for their clients, guiding them on investments so they can eventually buy their dream home. That's a pretty important big why, right? So I think as you're just thinking through these, look for your common threads. So when you're talking about those moments, the day-to-day that you find meaningful. And I think this would be a fun exercise, even just to like carry a little notebook with you for 24 hours. When you find moments that impact you in the day, just write down what was happening. What were your wins the day? And then find what do these moments have in common? Is it a core value? Your big why could be connected to a core value. So is it core values that connect these moments together? You're like, I loved this and this and this and this and this. And you know what this all relates back to? A core value of impact, right? So that may be really what's fueling that big why. It doesn't have to be a very specific thing, but it could be all those little pieces added together that are core value. This exercise right here, that's from the MREA, does this why ladder up into a bigger one? And I think a lot of times people stop on their very first why. I'm doing it for my family. Great, let's dig a little bit deeper. Why? Because I want them to experience a great life. Why? Ask yourself so many questions. If you guys know Simon Sinek, there's a great book called Start With Why. And there's like a little 2-minute YouTube one that you can go watch that literally is him just saying, call up 3 of your best friends and say like, hey, Eden, why are you friends with me? And they're gonna be like, that's weird. Like, why do you wanna know? And you're just gonna like, why? And you ask them, and then they're gonna tell you like, you're funny, or you're so good gray hair. Whatever it is, but they're gonna keep, and you're gonna keep peeling back the layers of why. And what you're gonna eventually get to is how you impact them and make them feel. And that's usually going to help you get to the core of what your why or some of your core values are. So ask yourself more questions. So if you start down here in the bottom of this, you should be able to ladder it up. See how it's going up in a little ladder? Ladder it up to where you finally have peeled back so that there's really nothing else. That's your true big why. The other paper I passed around talks a little bit more about the goals that you want to achieve. So what are those goals that you want to achieve? And then after you write them, I want you to think really about why they're important, right? We set goals in real estate and we talk about our financial goals, or we talk about our personal growth goals, or we talk about the amount of people that we want to impact their lives goals, like whatever that is. Why are those important to you to achieve them? What's going to happen when you hit those goals? And this is something that I think a lot of people, you start to get a little uncomfortable when you have to dig really deep into your own soul. And it's not a quick exercise. This is not something, that's why I want you to take some notes today, but I actually don't want you to really think you're going to whip this all out and fill it out in the next 10 minutes. This is something you need to take some time and really like quiet time. Turn your phone off, have some quiet time with yourself and dig through these things of what's going to happen when you hit the goal. And keep peeling back those layers until you find what is your most personal and meaningful reasons. And that's when you're going to know that you found your big why. Okay. So if we're rediscovering it, that means to discover something that was forgotten or ignored again. Trying to rediscover is the way of roots. With the example on this one, very, very profound. So when we talk about rediscovering, I want you to think through about if you're still connected to your why. So this is, as I've been watching and meeting with people and thinking through some things, I think that a lot of people have lost touch with their why, and they thought they had a why at some point. And my question to you is the why is it still the same, but you just haven't visited your why in a while? Or is it because it's taken on a completely different shape? And maybe like there's a part of where your big why was that was there and it's hanging around, but it's evolved into something different. So a couple things that I think are important to ask yourself when you're rediscovering your big why And this is, like I said, there's some myths, I think, around a big why. So number one, recognizing that there's seasons to your life. So I think you're in a different season, and seasons can last a year, they can last a decade, they can last a quarter, they can last 3 days. There's seasons in our life, and our life evolves, so should our why. When we started out, I've been doing this now 17 years. When I started out 17 years ago, my why was very different, you guys, than what it looks like today. At the core, at the root of it, it's still probably some resemblance of where that why started, but it started a little differently, right? So recognize that there's seasons to your life. And I think it's important to revisit our why, because I think a lot of times once we've like, that's it, got my big why, got it, yes. And it just sits there and it's your big why, but are you evolving your why and going through it with you? Sometimes we're looking for new work. I've heard this a lot recently, when really we should be thinking of how do we need to show up in a new way, right? So think through that a little bit. Like if you're thinking about, am I on the right path? Am I doing the right thing? Is my why the reason that I'm still getting up and doing what I'm doing every day? Think through, is it really that your why has changed, or do we need a new way of going through the things that we're doing? Do we need to show up differently in the world today based on who we are today than who we were maybe 5 years ago or 10 years ago or 2 years ago? We are all growing all the time. We should be. And that means that our why needs to grow too. And that's why it's important to revisit the why and be able to adapt it and change it and move it around. I think it's really important to be aware that you're on a journey and to honor that journey. You guys, we are so freaking hard on ourselves, right? Like, is anyone else the worst person in their own head? Like the things you say to yourself, the pressure you put on yourself to perform, you would never put that on the other people that you care about. And yet we put ourselves through that all the time. So when we're thinking about the fact that we're on a journey, none of us are perfect. Not one of us in this room is perfect. We all have a lot of growth. We're going to continue on our journey. So honor the journey and where you're at along the way, because I think that's an important piece to the why that makes us feel disconnected. We think we should be a certain space. We think we should be here because we knew this and we believed in it and this was where we were going. And if we're not there, we're really, really hard on ourselves. And it's honoring that journey and where we are and where we're going. I think that's so critical. And then this is something that's probably a little controversial with the why, is that what's in it for you? The why, your why cannot be serving everybody else. It can't be. It's got to serve you too. We as humans need our cups filled too. Why do you think we start our meetings with buckets? Do you think that Allison's gonna be a better coach today because her bucket was filled? We've got to be our own, it's got to be in it for us too. We've got to be a little bit selfish with it. Couple things that I believe about the why. Because you have a big why, that does not mean you're not going to have hard days. That doesn't mean you're not going to wake up overwhelmed. That's not going to mean that one day you just want to pull the blankets over your head and say, I'm not doing it today. I don't want to do it. That does not mean that you don't have a big why. And I think that there's been this misconception, especially in our industry. I think there's a misconception that if you're tired or you're overwhelmed or you're feeling frustrated, that you just don't have a big enough why. Peel back the layers and get a bigger why. I think you can have a really freaking big why and you can still be tired. And I think that means that you need to evaluate what are the other things going on in your life, what kind of systems do you have, what kind of tools do you have, who do you have available to you to talk to that you need to look through and say, is it really that my why is not big enough? Or is it maybe that there's some other things in my life that, with the one thing we talk about, balance and counterbalance. Am I so out of balance in something that we've got to now do something to counterbalance it back? Because you're never going to have just this perfectly balanced life unless it's a very mediocre life. To be great in any area, you're going to have to give it time, energy, and focus. So you've got to pay attention to balance and counterbalance. I think the other thing is that when you're thinking about a big why, is that it's got to be fun. We have to enjoy our journey, you guys. We don't have to be so serious all the damn time. We got to have a little fun along the way. We've got to enjoy our journey. That's where it's like tying it back to your core values too. It's okay for one of your core values to be fun or adventure.
or something along those lines. And then how do you tie your why into that? I think it's also important with your why is that it's got to be about in alignment with your core values. You have to be in alignment. If your why is not in alignment with what really makes you tick, and there's a great exercise, I think it's at the one thing that you can download a list of core values. And then it's just like a quick little exercise that they have you go through. And first round through, you're actually going through and just circling as fast as you can everything that you're really resonating with. And then the next round, you're going through again and you're getting rid of the things that you're like, oh, this is better than this, or this is better than this. And it should eventually get you down to where you have about 3 core values, 3 to 4 that are really like at the core of who you are. That's what's driving you. And that's what's driving your big why. What did you say, Sherry?
It's a powerful exercise.
It's a super powerful exercise. If you haven't done it before, I really encourage you to do it because it's powerful and it's a critical exercise. Because I think a lot of times it's maybe not even that our why is wrong. It's that we're approaching it in a way that's out of alignment with what our core values are. And if we haven't identified our core values, it's really hard to identify the why and to have your life be in alignment with that, right? One other quick thing is that it is, let's see, where did I got off track, sorry. It doesn't have to be for everyone else. We already kind of talked about that a little bit. Your core why should include you. Because what happens when it includes you? Then it flows into other people, and I'll do a little circle in a minute, but it's got to be with you too. And then also it has to, you've got to just dig a little bit deeper. If you're just like, I don't actually really care about this anymore, that's probably not your big why. It's probably time to like scrape that off and do some exercises, walk through these things to kind of dig down to what really is important to you, because our whys change all along the way, and they should change, they should evolve. They may still be like a glimmer of what started there, but it's gonna blow out and get bigger and bigger and bigger. So to rediscover our big why, I actually think we have to rediscover ourselves. This is where I'm gonna ask you to take a couple little notes. So my question to you is, I want you to think about a time that you felt really, really confident in you. Just jot it down. So when you're thinking about a time that you felt really confident in you, who were you that time? What was that version of you like? You felt confident in what you did. Everything was going right. It's just a time that you can think back to and you just think, man, that was a good year. Felt really great that year. These were the things that I was doing. These were the people I was spending time with. These were the people I was surrounding myself with. These were the kind of things happening in my business. These were the things happening in my personal life. Like, think through, as you're thinking through some of those things, like, who were you then? If you get just a couple minutes to write that. Then if you've got an idea in your head of who that person was when you felt really confident in who you were, I want you to think about who are you now?
You can do that. Sorry, I was looking at that black one there. You're fine. Listen. I know, like, it got quiet in here.
And then I want you to think about the version of yourself that we first talked about, and then the version of yourself now. Like, who are you then? Who are you now? And I want you to think a little bit about what has changed. What's changed that was external and outside of your control? And then I also want you to think about what's changed that's internal, that you can control.
kind of those two different versions of yourself. I want you to think through, if you're not connected to who your why was, we're rediscovering our why. Is it because you're not the same person that you were when that why drove you forward? When anybody's thinking about those two versions, the version of themselves that you felt really confident and the version of yourself that you are now, are any of those, does anybody in the room have that? Is that the exact same version? And it's okay, you may be looking at it going, right now is the most confident I've ever felt. Is there anybody that's brave and wants to share some of their thoughts around this? Jenny.
Mine was it like Oscar had, you know, he was telling me you just had that mind switch. I just remember it was probably the first or second year I was over here at Keller Williams, and I just went and bought like 10 real estate signs because I could feel in my gut that I was going to need all of them, and I needed so many lock boxes and all that stuff, and making calls and just being really, when I'm at my best, I feel really creative, and it's fun to interact, and like you said, kind of make it a game. And I wasn't keeping score on myself. I was excited to talk to people, but I knew that the leads I was getting did honestly want help or need help. Had questions about real estate, and I believe that's what I was there for. Whether it turned into a listing or a I think that it was important to find joy in the whole process of it, and I really enjoyed that. That's when I was in my best, and then all of a sudden, months later, I think I had like 50,000-60,000 just sitting in my bank account I didn't know about. And I remember,
Oh my gosh, that would be like the best thing to ever be like, I didn't even know I have this account.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exciting.
I didn't know, but I was like, at that time, like, oh, well, I did that. You know, I just thought outside of real estate that, and for me, that wouldn't have been possible. So I was just having fun. I was having fun.
Does anybody remember the first time that you saw a number in one of your accounts and you were like, oh, that's fine.
That's the game I like.
Yeah.
Because honestly, that I was gonna share earlier, because the whole thing about the why is I really don't care about numbers in the fact that even like the money, because the money is just you use it for your business, your personal. So money is never motivated, or the money in the bank account, which when it did hit, it was like, shit, what the it's just accumulation. But for me, I've had to literally equivalent it with, or whatever, you know. For me, I had to literally figure out that it's about trips. Like, how many trips can I go on? Am I gonna, because I mean, I capped twice in 1 year because I was so motivated, because I was not gonna miss those trips. And I was gonna have to be gone for so long over the different caps that I literally just had to work my ass off to cap. And then it ended up capping twice in the same calendar year, because I was gonna be gone so much that I'm like, that was such a motivator. I don't know what the money was or the transactions. I just knew that like, I was not gonna miss those trips.
That meant you were getting to Spain sooner.
Yes,
Right.
and this
That's
year's
what-
made in Portugal, and both this year with my husband, which was the first, so it's like, oh my god, like, and it's the 10th anniversary since I was there originally, and he finally got to go, and then poor guy was sick. So we'll just have to redo it.
Now you gotta go again.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's just, for me, I know that it's not about the numbers or the money, I just have to figure how many trips.
Love that. Anybody else have anything they want to share when you went through that exercise, Alex? And then Judith.
I didn't do this next week, but just recognizing when I started here in 2019, I came from a job where if I didn't want to have anyone on me, I didn't have to. And so coming here and then being told, now you have to teach a class in front of 30 people, that maybe want to grow up. But doctor stuff off and off this several times until I was ready to teach a class, and then over time I got to the point where I was developing classes on my own and wanting to teach. So
I love that. And that's an evolution of you. So from the minute that you started, do you think that your why is different now?
oh,
Right? Because as humans, we evolve. We've got it. I think that sometimes we get caught up in
this is why we started doing, or this is the reason, and we've got to evolve that why too. And personal growth should be part of that why, right? Because as we grow personally, we have to figure out a bigger piece for our why, right? Because it gets bigger and bigger. Judith, do you want to share something?
Yeah, I mean, I can go on a massive tangent about all the whys and stuff, which I won't do, but the thing that really stood out to me and kind of locked in my brain as I was reading through these was I've been really wrestling with confidence that I can do what everybody else is doing. And I was thinking back to when I felt the most confident, and it was the job literally right before this one. I had gotten fresh out of college. I was going to be a video editor for one of the largest video editing companies in the country. And I was like, okay, I'm not like qualified to do this. I don't know what I'm doing, but if they believe that I could do this job and they saw the work that I did before, then somebody's right. And I'm just going to believe that it's true. And then first year, not a lot of confidence. Second year, super confident. It just took a lot of hard work and a lot of developments. And then I felt invaluable just because of the amount of time that I spent teaching myself how to get good at my job. So that helps my confidence a lot with entering real estate for the first time.
Yeah, I love it.
If it's gonna do the exact same thing.
Yeah,
I'm really gonna do the exact same thing.
Exactly
Done it
right.
before. Yes. My husband spent 20 years at the base and never felt tall. But that's the thing, you're doing the job and knowing you can learn it again and you can succeed at a high level again, that's the confidence you need to bring into this, is what you just pick butt on the other, and you need the same thing.
love it. Thanks for sharing. I know this is not always, I think a lot of times when we talk about people's good why, they're super personal, right? So like Allison yesterday was like, cool, Rusty. She's like busting to me. And it like makes me emotional to think about the things that I think through and why I want to do what I'm doing. So I'm gonna shift into this a little bit because the amazing Gary Vee said it starts with you. And this is what I want you to think through when you're rediscovering your why, or if you're discovering your why for the first time. It's your core values. I can't go build a big why off of Steph's core values because it's not going to be in alignment with who I am, right? So it's your core values. What makes you wake up every morning and what gives you the power to start again after every setback? Everybody experiences setbacks. We can't like throw the baby out with the bathwater, which I don't even know where that expression came from. You put the bathwater dirty and you're just like, dumpster baby, right? But like, there's gonna be setbacks. So what are you doing? Like, it's it's what gives you the power to get started again after every setback. You are the one that have to work on the skill set to fuel your passion. So one thing about this, I was listening to, if you guys don't follow the One Thing podcast, oh my gosh, it's so good. But I was listening to one recently that they said, passion equals purpose, but passion also does not equal, like, passion will get you to the poorhouse faster than anything else. Because if you just go with blind passion and you don't work on the skill set to learn how to do that, that's where the money is going to come in. Going to the poorhouse. I thought you said poorhouse. Probably led several people also to the poorhouse.
Sorry, guys.
You have to give you perspective, and you are the one that gets paid for it. You, who do you want to be like? And how are you showing up as the best version of yourself? Like, think through these things. And then also, who loses if you don't show up and focus on your why? I forgot to make this one red. I'm so bugged about that. Who loses? Including you. This is where we start to look at all the other people around you. And then what's the legacy that you want to leave? So again, I'm going to go back to challenging a little bit the big why. And I think a lot of times we convince ourselves that our why isn't big enough.
or that it's selfish, or that it needs to involve everyone else, but I want you to think of yourself. I'm gonna draw this one by myself, like a little sick person. And I'm gonna wear a skirt and a smile, because why wouldn't I? This is me, and this is my world where it starts. But by me being right here, and me with my core values, and me waking up every morning and deciding what the power I'm gonna be to get started again after my setback, where does this start to bleed in? This starts to bleed into my family, right? Because if I'm showing up as the best version of myself, if I'm showing up and I decide that who loses if I don't focus, this now bleeds into my legacy, my family. And then that bleeds into my friends and the office. And then where do these people's lives impact? Right? This bleeds into the other people going out and impacting their lives. So now this is the community. This is all impacting. Where is it still starting? You. And then the community, we're going to do some good in the community. And that's going to bleed out into a bigger community and a bigger community. And then pretty soon, global domination. And if your why is not global domination, then you have a problem dominating. But you see where it all starts right here at the core of this big little smiley person that's so happy right there in the center. So when we're talking about a why, it's got to start here. And I think a lot of times we go instantly to our why has to be all about these people. We're all doing what we're doing probably for the people that we care about, right? But at the core, shouldn't we all care about ourselves enough to be fueling ourselves too? So when you're thinking about your why and rediscovering it, I want you to remember, like, it's okay to start right here. It's okay to love yourself. It's okay to tell yourself in the mirror how every single day, how freaking amazing you are. Whether you have a great butt or great hair, or you're so smart, or you're a master of your schedule, or you're an investor, or you're the top agent in the office. It's okay for you to tell yourself all those things and to tie them back into the core of who you are and why you're doing it. Because this impact is part of the big why. Instead at the beginning, you don't have to be Mother Teresa, but everything you do, it's the butterfly effect. You affect your family. Do you think that the things you do by showing your family how you're living your big why and your core values, do you think that impacts them and their friends and the people they know and the people they know and the people they know? Where does it ever stop? Right? But it starts right here. So I'm going to wrap it up because I think I'm out of time. So we're really close to it. But I want to share, I'm going to be really honest with you, super vulnerable. I have felt really disconnected from my wife. And I was struggling because I was like, oh, when Ian's like, what do you want to teach about this month? I was like, let's talk about rediscovering your big why. It's a conversation I'm having all the time right now. So don't feel alone if this is you and you're feeling disconnected. And as I started prepping for it, I was just like, man, I am struggling to like connect with the message of this training. And I had a friend that I said, hey, I need some inspiration. You're always good at inspiring me. And I said, hey, we've gotten so busy gathering the wood for our boat that we forgot the entire purpose of the boat was to take us where we wanted to go. And this has been rolling around in my head for 2 or 3 weeks now. Did we just get so busy gathering all the wood and getting all the things that we needed to build our boat because we wanted to come out here to global domination, but we forgot about at the core, who are we really impacting and where do we really want to go?
We're gonna need a bigger boat.
We're gonna need a bigger boat. And then you guys will get off on the boat from this little part over here. So where I'm gonna grow old and leathery, I like to call them Indian shorts. This is good. I was rediscovering this, is that maybe I should have been an artist. But here I'm gonna be in the sunshine, living over here at my best life, still impacting lives, but growing old and leathery. And here's the little boat that's taking me there, right? But if I'd gotten so busy just gathering all the wood that I kind of forgot where we were
right? Has anyone ever felt like that?
Yeah.
So this is your permission to say like, it's okay for you to take some time, block it, put it in your calendar. I really encourage you, like, this week, we have a long weekend. Memorial Day, hey. This weekend, take some time and go through the exercises and just keep asking yourself, peel it back more and more and more and more and more and more and more until you finally are exhausted with why you really are doing it. And then get to this core, because this is what matters. It's all about these legacies that we leave. And we can't leave a legacy if we're sitting here in the middle, pouring out everything we have to all these other things. That's where we lose track of it. Okay? So anyway, I hope this was helpful. I'm happy to help you guys kind of walk through these exercises too, but what I'm going to tell you is that it's so personal to you that you really just got to do the work. You've got to ask yourself questions, and I'm giving you permission. Don't phone it in, and don't play small, and don't say that sounds crazy to say that. You know, like you guys know, I'm a big giant fan of Rachel Hollis, and like she has a tattoo on her wrist that says 3% chance. Because when she was saying she wanted to be a New York Times bestselling author, guess what her husband and #1 supporter of the Times told her? You got a 3% chance of that ever, or 0.3% chance or something of that ever happening. And here she stands today, like 10 times New York Times bestselling author. And people thought she was freaking crazy to want to write a book. Who was she to write a book about anything? And now it's a worldwide. Don't let anyone tell you that you don't get to have what your big why wants, or that your goals are too small, or that you can't do it, or you're too old, or you're too young, or you're too whatever, right? It's all bullshit. You can do whatever you want to do if you believe in yourself, and if you just like focus in on how does that get you to where you want to go. Let's remember the purpose of why we're building. With that, that's all I have to say. Thank you guys for listening. And we have Jody. Where she's at. Jody's so cute, and she is one of my favorite people in the staging world. So I'm gonna give her some time to talk to you guys. She was so darling. Hi, everyone. I've been here before, so I may recognize a few faces, but I'm Jody with Mighty House Stagers, as Russ said. We are a staging company. Obviously, we're based out of Ogden, but we will serve within about 75 miles of Ogden. And then we're also down in Southern Utah now too. So if you have any staging or stages down in St. George, we are down there too. We specialize in vacant homes and new construction, but we can also do occupied homes as well, which is something we've been doing a lot of lately. And then a few other services we offer are like listing consultations. So if you need a design expert to just come in and tell your sellers, hey, you need to take this down, you need to get rid of this, we should bring in this, things like that. We can definitely do that too. We can be the bad guy or give any suggestions that maybe something the homeowners won't listen to you and you just need a second voice. We can be that person. And then we can do design services too. We can do restyles. It's a new service that we're offering that we'll just have our stylists come in and actually work with the homeowners' existing stuff and move around furniture, take things down for them, put stuff up, and that's for 2 hours. And it's $3.95 for that service. So that is something new that we've been offering. It has been really nice because I know it's sometimes hard to convince your clients to spend the money on staging, and it is an investment for sure. So that is something new that we've been offering that has been pretty popular. I will say I can give pricing to everyone because I know that's a big question that everyone has. And it will kind of vary on each home, but I would say it's normally around $2,000 for the standard essentials package that includes full staging of the living room, dining room, kitchen, primary bedroom, and bathrooms. It will include up to 3. And then that is for a 4-week lease. So you know that's kind of like the top questions, and I just ran through that so fast. So does anyone have any questions?
I know for a while you guys were offering like holiday design and decor. Do you still do that?
Yeah, I think that's such a fun feature. I was like, what is this?
Yeah, we do holiday decorating too. So during Christmas, we'll come and do like Christmas decorating, tree decorating, pretty much
any of that. And even like Halloween, we've done like front porches.
Halloween, your favorite holiday.
I know.
So we do holiday decorating as well, and interior design work, do that as well as doing like short-term rental, Airbnbs, whatever we have done, right, by project plans too. You know, I have flyers and cards and money back there, so I won't forget.
Does anybody else have questions for Jody?
We reminded what it was in the whole, like in the 2000, that was living room, it included kitchen?
Yes, living room,
Primary-
dining room, kitchen, primary bedroom, and bathroom.
Up to 3 bathrooms.
4 months.
For months, yeah. Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you guys and enjoy. I brought Zupas. I hope you don't get Zupas too much. I know we all want
Hey, if you guys haven't followed them, go follow them too, because they have the cutest designs. I'm always like, oh, I want this living room. So anyway, go follow them. Okay, thanks so much. Seen a spiral graph bound MREA laying around with my highlights and notes in it. I left it somewhere. Chances are like maybe in the kitchen or I do you see one? Send it my way.
Might have sold it on eBay.
Did you see it? I don't have a lot of money for it because like 7 years worth of really good stuff came down.
Send it back to Walmart.
Did they like this is not like new, this is crap.
Okay, this way. I don't know all of them. Okay, good thing I'm still. It scared me. I tried to give you a hug over it, and I'm like, if I do that, I'm like. Yeah, that's what we're talking about. You have to go on vacation for another too. But it's in this Adam. Adam 15. Need to transfer our return for Reggie. He just already had license. Yes, very good with savvy, so I think that was really good. Of course. Come on over here. Everybody. Hi, Adam. Hi, over there. And you're ready to rock in your right color. Oh, I got the color of money. Yeah. And the color of money. And the color of shiny. Yeah. But you want to just like pull the cherry and hang out with you? Do you want to get lunch? Okay. Well, I'll send you it. Bye. You're already. Okay. I just. I'm like, okay. It's Somebody got down there, man. Yeah. Yeah. I think they're gonna do an open house. I don't know. Oh my gosh. It was insane. It was like, for my first one, I couldn't have been. I'm gonna buy. I'm like, I know the thing about how it's gonna be. I just.
And you have to learn without it going to your makeup. Right? Yeah.
But it was great. And then. Which was, I was really. Yeah. So,
And still, yeah. I know Sounds awesome.
What kind of?
So we have to put on, so still the reports, but also if I'm still. I can read it. I can read it at our. And I'm like, well, no. But it's like, oh, okay. So. So I just. But it was good, like it was, well, what it seems like.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get it. I'm kind of like, right, like your things to get ready. Can you be there?
Yeah, 9 to 9:30. Yeah. But yeah, you're right. You know, it's like if you're there, even if you're.
Do you want to get one?
Tell yourself, okay.
Oh, no. Figure it out. So everything will come to the right and so start. So she thought, I said, we're all in the well, I told her what we looked at.
You know.
Right, yeah.
Is there anybody?
So we have a. Well, that's not like. So like the. And you.
Taking a lead.
Yeah. I think you're coming out my. I think we skipped the. So the next one we have young is at 5 o'clock. No, I did not. Oh my God. I was starving. I had a full hour. Which is very first one. I had to use my open house. Yeah. And within hours.
They.
They did it.